In this episode, I go over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, March 16th, 2022. What's going on, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, March 16th, 2022. So if you're here for that, if you're here for the new books that are coming out, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And as I always say, it's a great week for comics, great new week for comics, a lot of great books coming out. I will say, looking through a lot of these, I actually don't really have any honorable mentions. Normally I run through a few others that I try to throw into my top 5 without actually officially putting in my top 5. But this time I'm just going to jump right into the top 5. So I'm going to do that, and then of course stick around because I'm going to go over my cover buy of the week. That's the book that I, no matter what, I have to have. Going to buy that just strictly for its cover. Hopefully it's a book that I'm also reading, so I kind of, win-win there. But again, shout out to everybody in the premiere chat right now. Thanks so much for hanging out as always, and let's get into it. So I'm going in with my number 5 pick here. And I'm kicking it off with Detective Comics issue 1057. The reason this is on the list, because it hasn't been on my list for the past couple of weeks. And if you've been following along with the Detective Comics stuff, it's been a weekly ongoing at the moment because they're doing this larger story. It's called The Tower. So right now with 1057, it is part 11. I think it's of a 12-part series, and I've read the first couple and I really enjoyed what I was reading so far, the setup, kind of the build to it. So I wanted to highlight that this is coming out because it's like I said, it's wrapping up. So usually as it's getting to the end mark of this is when I'll start to really re-dive into things, so that I could basically binge it, and catch that last episode or issue or two, as they come out. So yeah, this has been a weekly thing now. So it's been, like I said, the artworks looked fantastic, and from what I've read so far, I really like the setup for it. So that's why I wanted to throw it on my list here at number 5, Detective Comics issue number 1057. By the way, really cool Scarecrow cover too. Looking at this now, actually, let me see. The cover art is Irvin Rodriguez. So I think Irvin's been doing a majority of the covers here for these, but either way, yeah, really badass cover. I got Nightwing there at the bottom. So yeah, that's my number 5 pick of the week. Let's go into my number 4, which I'm gonna go with Reign issue number 3, and I say it in this way that's like I was a little let down by 4, and I know you might have heard I was very overhyped and excited for issue number 1, and I happened to absolutely love issue number 1. I thought it was fantastic. It was so well done as an opening issue for a series, and the way it ended, it really could have gone in any direction. Seeing where the direction has gone now for Reign issue 2, it wasn't bad. It just seemed a bit slower after that whole setup. The story kind of slowed down and not as much happened. So I don't know. I'm going to continue on with it. Obviously, it's my number 4 pick of the week. And I have high hopes, fingers crossed that this is still something that I'm going to continue to enjoy. I liked it last issue. I just didn't love it, at least not compared to issue 1. I think maybe that might be a reason why I'm holding it to this higher standard, because issue 1 was just out of this world. It was so great, so well done. Just the way it was told, so well done. But shout out to David M. Boer, who's credited as writing here, along with Joe Hill. I know this is like a Joe Hill-based idea of a comic book. And then Zoe Thorogood doing the artwork, the penciling here, which I actually really enjoyed as well. It's a different kind of style. I don't know if Zoe is necessarily for everybody, but I personally really liked it, and I think it fits well with this storyline. So yeah, that's going to be my number 4 pick of the week, Reign issue number 3. That's Image Comics there. Okay, going into my number 3 pick, I'm going with another Batman title here. It's Batman the Knight. And I know that, again, there's obviously a lot of hype right now with Batman, with the film that had just come out and everything else. A lot of people talking about it right now. And obviously Batman's Batman. So, they're always going to be putting out a lot of titles with him. And I am really enjoying this. I initially had the mindset of too many Batman books and I'm not going to read them all and all this stuff. But I don't have, I haven't read enough Batman to be able to feel that way fully. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still very new to the character, even though it's Batman and it's obviously a character that's, well known to even people who don't read comic books. But I'm new in the sense of I have not read a lot of like key story arcs and books and things like that from Batman. And so for me, I've just decided, like, you know what, I'm just going to start reading more of whatever comes out. If it's something that catches my eye, whether it's because of the artwork or because of the writer, and in which this case, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to give this a shot, is because the writer for this, Batman the Knight, is Chip Zdarsky. And Chip Zdarsky has become one of my favorite writers, especially with what he's done with Daredevil. And I've heard great things about some of the other things that he's done, like, was it like Stillwater and things like that. So, that was the thing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot here. It's Chip Zdarsky. Let's do it. I actually read the first 2 issues not too long ago, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And it is an origin story. So again, if you've been reading Batman all your life and, you've read, 20 different origins, then I get where you might be a little sick and tired of seeing, another title like this. But for those who are newer or just looking for something different from Batman, hearing an origin story told in a different way, I think this is a great way to go down. So again, this is only issue 3 right now out of 10. So I also like that it's, capped off at 10. It's not an ongoing. And so we're going to hopefully get a definitive ending, seeing what Chip does with this. The other thing too is the artist here, Carmine Di Giandomenico. He was really great. I really enjoyed his artwork too. I think it fit really well with that darker vibe. I mean, it's Batman. It's fitting for that. So I really enjoyed that as well. So yeah, I'm with it. I'm gonna continue on with this. Again, I kind of just took a stab at it a couple weeks ago because I saw a Chip was listed on there, and I'm opening up to trying more Batman just in general. Yes, I'm also going back reading a lot of the classic stuff as well. I just read Batman Year One for the first time, literally like 2 days ago from when I'm recording this. A lot of people freaked out on Instagram, but you got to remember, for me as DC, like I've only been reading DC for like 8 months, so, and that's like new stuff, thank goodness that I even got into it thanks to Tom Taylor and Nightwing 78. Otherwise, like, I would have probably continued to not read DC. And so that really pulled me in, and now I'm reading a ton of DC. So, you got to start somewhere, right? So that's where kind of I am right now. So I'm reading some old stuff, reading some new stuff, and I'm enjoying all of it. So I think that's the important thing, right? I'm having a lot of fun diving into a lot of these things. So that is why Batman the Knight issue number 3 is going to be my number 3 pick of the week. Chip Zdarsky, he has my heart, so I'm all for it. Going to continue onward with this and see where it goes from there. All right, going into my number 2 pick, got to go with a mutant here. The X Lives of Wolverine issue number 5. This is going to wrap up this first half, or I don't know how you describe it, the X Lives side of things. It's going to wrap that up. And I say that because if anyone has not been reading this, there's an X Deaths of Wolverine as well, which has been going on, and it's been every other week, basically. Each issue's been coming out up until this past week, which technically they both came out at the same time with issue 4. So this week coming up, they're coming out with 5, and then probably the week after that is issue 5 of the X Deaths of Wolverine, I think, is when that's coming out. So this is kind of in a way a big finale. So I mean, I don't know where this is going afterwards, but I've been really enjoying the X Lives and the X Deaths. Both series have been on my top 5 list through and through over these past couple of weeks. Or at least mentioned them. Also loving a lot of the cover art that's been coming out with it as well. So yeah, definitely wanted to put this high on the list as this is wrapping this up. X Lives of Wolverine issue number 5. Like I said, it's kind of, and I've talked about this in the past, the two together, they kind of remind me of House of X, Powers of 10, the way that those 2 sets of 6 issue series were coming out one after the other, and they'd bounce back and forth, and there was like a certain order that you had to read them in. So in similar vein, X Lives of Wolverine is doing the same thing, and I'm hoping that we've already seen a little bit of crossover, but I'm hoping that there's more crossover that goes between the two as these two wrap up. So that's and I should mention too, Benjamin Percy doing the writing for this has just been absolutely phenomenal. I'm all on board for more Benjamin Percy, whatever he does. But Wolverine especially, really enjoying that stuff. I need to go back and read some of the other Wolverine issues that he's done, because I read the first 6, and then that was part of the X of Swords stuff, and then I jumped around because I was trying to get caught up. But from what I've heard, Benjamin Percy's Wolverine run in general has been really, really good. And there's some things that tie into, the stuff that's here now. So also wanted to shout out Joshua Cassara, who is the artist here. Fairly new to me. I haven't seen a lot of his work up until recently, and I think that it's very fitting for this series, and looking forward to seeing what else he does with this. It's not the cover. The cover here is by Frank Martin, who's also the colorist, but the penciling on the inside is Joshua Cassara. So yeah, really good stuff there. Got a couple of variants for that. So that is going to be my number 2 pick of the week, X Lives of Wolverine issue number 5. And let's see. Before I get into issue number 1, or my pick of number 1 for next week, I just want to remind everybody, again, everybody in the Premiere Chat, thanks so much for hanging out with me here. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm curious, what you guys are reading right now, if you have any recommendations. Am I close to, are we close to each other in what we're reading right now? Very curious, what you're picking up. And like I said, every week, there's great things coming out for comics. So, yeah. Always open to recommendations. Other than that, wanted to also note that I also have Comic Collector Origins coming out this Saturday. Going to be talking to my man Scheme Richards over on YouTube. So it's 2:00 Eastern time this Saturday for Comic Collector Origins. Cannot wait to hang out with Scheme. It's going to be a good time, and Scheme's a really good dude. Want to dive into some of his history with music as well. So I think this could be a lot of fun. And then after that, this Sunday morning, 11:00 Eastern, we're doing a live Lego build. As you can see, I'm surrounded by Lego. I got this thing right here. I'm going to be building this bad boy, or at least attempting to build it. I don't know if I'll be able to do it all in one session, but me and JD from Raging Cajun Comics, he also bought this, so he's going to be joining me to build this, and I have some other friends coming along as well. I think John from John's Comics with Kids, Candace is also going to be there, so yeah, really looking forward to that. So if you guys want to come hang for like a live Lego build, this is where it's going to be at, 11:00 Eastern on my channel. And that'll probably go for a couple hours. So we'll see. But that's Sunday. Other than that, let's get into my number 1 pick. And of course, I got to go right back to my main number 1. It's been a number 1 for me for a very long time for this series. I mentioned it already when I talked about Nightwing 78. I'm talking about Nightwing, and it's issue number 90 that's coming out. And first of all, look at this cover. Like, this is a beautiful cover. Like, the fact that I'm already reading this and I'm already going to be buying this, like, this would, if I wasn't reading Nightwing, this would probably be my cover of the week because it is so beautiful. I love the coloring. Flash is involved with it, which kind of getting more intrigued with reading more of Flash. Like, I want to learn a little bit more with Flash. So love the bright reds and yellows versus the blacks and the blues. Really, really cool. So really well done. And of course, the cover art, Bruno Redondo doing that. Now, one thing to note, and of course, this is Tom Taylor. So in case anybody didn't know, that's another huge reason why it's number 1. Tom Taylor for me, he's been killing it with this series. It's literally my number 1 favorite series right now. That's out. So, and I wanted to note though, that the artist here is Geraldo Borges. Now, I don't know how long this is going to be for, if this is just a one-time kind of change-up or what the deal is. I am hoping it's not permanent in any way, because I want more Bruno Redondo. I love his work. I absolutely love what he's been doing with Nightwing and all the characters involved. So hoping that goes back. I don't know anything about Geraldo, so I mean, who knows? I might really enjoy it as well, and I hope I do. I hope he's a great artist and can do the job done, in a great way. But yeah, I am hoping that Bruno does come back at some point. So I always get a little nervous with these because you never know, if artists, they move on to other projects or what the deal is. But I feel like Nightwing, it's got to be a Tom Taylor and a Bruno Redondo project. It's got to stay that way. But I'm going to give it a shot with Geraldo. Fingers crossed that it's good. But yeah, so the story's been fantastic. This looks like it's starting off a new kind of, miniature story of part 1 of 2 with Wally West here. So, curious to see where that goes. I know they had just had a little bit of a tie-in with Superman, Son of Kal-El, which Tom Taylor's writing that as well. So it was like issue 9 and then the previous issue here of 89 for Nightwing that had like a nice little crossover between the two. And Redondo was doing artwork on that, which is a nice little change up as well. So yeah, that's I'm sure no surprise. Nightwing, anytime the issue comes out, it's easily always in my my top 5 many times at the top of my list, just because it's been that great and something I've really enjoyed. And if you're new, or if you're new to Nightwing, or if you've never read it, first of all, I highly recommend giving it a shot, even if you're not into DC or DC characters, whatever. Start at issue 78. I mean, I've talked about this before, but if you've never read this before, or if you've been thinking about getting into it, if you always hear me, ramble on about it, start at issue 78 and read from there. Give the first 6 issues a shot. It's a 6-issue, story arc. 78 goes through, I think, 83. So it's really, really game changer for me, and just the enjoyment that I've had with comic books. So, and I hope that, you gain something from that as well. But anyways, any excuse that I can talk Nightwing, I'm going to take it. The other day I just posted Nightwing 79, and, just made it a hashtag Tom Taylor Tuesday, which I think I'm going to have to get that trending soon, because that just rolls off the tongue really well. But anyways, that's going to be my number 1 pick of the week, Nightwing issue number 90. And don't go away yet, though. Don't go away yet. I do want to go over my cover buy of the week. I mentioned that if it wasn't the fact that it was already a book I was reading, and I mean, I've had cover buys be the same book that I'm reading too, but there's another book that I want to mention. And actually, now that I think about it, it's on my list already. It's just another cover that I'm going to place as my cover pick of the week. It is this book right here. I already mentioned it as my number 5 earlier. Detective Comics 1057. It is the Lee Bermayhew cover. And Lee Bermayhew's been absolutely killing it. And I probably have not talked about him as much as I probably should be, because the artwork is so real. I mean, look at it here. I mean, it's stunning, and I just love this whole scene. I'm sold, and especially with the hype with Batman and everything else that's going on right now with the film and things like that. I think that's a thing that just pushed me over the edge with having this be the cover buy of the week. So it's technically cover B. Lee Bermayhew's been doing cover Bs. And I mentioned before, the cover A is really cool too. That Scarecrow cover. But yeah, no, this book right here, I mean, this is going to be the cover buy of the week for me. So I'll definitely be picking that up. And like I said, I mean, Nightwing 90 is right there with it because it's so beautiful, and Bruno Redondo is amazing. So, basically those two are my top picks of cover buys, I should say, of the week. And luckily I'm reading them as well, so it's convenient. So, anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Again, these are for books coming out next week, New Comic Book Day for March 16th, 2022. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you're buying. Let me know if you have any recommendations for me along the way. And don't forget to swing by the channel Saturday, Sunday. We'll be, talking to Scheme. We'll be building some Legos and having a good time. So everybody in the Premiere chat right now, thank you all so much. Make sure you smash that like button, and I will talk to you all later.